Hello everybody, welcome to another video. And in this video I wanted to kind of take you through a little tour of my dip pens and my fountain pens. On the left here you see a small collection of dip pens, and over here my fountain pens, and I have here a Webster's Pages planner that I picked up the other day at the secondhand store. This is I went and looked at their website, which is also listed back here somewhere, websterpages.com right there. Yeah, you should be able to see that. And apparently they no longer make these, so I was a little bit surprised by that because they appear to be very nice and everything. This one is supposed to be leather according to a listing that I found somewhere. And I got it for €1, so I thought that was a great, amazing find. It looks really fun. All this paper stuff was already in it. I got this little dashboard here, there, and this was already in there. This was already in there. I guess these are like rub-on things. I don't know. They're very fun in any case. Comes with a whole bunch of tabs and some paper in the back as well. Every moment, or enjoy every moment. And then you have some of these sheets and some regular paper. So we're going to use this one to write on, but I just want to kind of page through here a little quick. You can do anything. Alright, so well, currently I'm doing this. So I have some of these papers. So I'm guessing since this business is no longer operational, I'm not going to be able to get new ones of these. But that's okay, because I have lots of ring planner stuff, because I also have a bunch of filofaxes and things that seem to be kind of like filofaxes that I can use the paper from as well. And then we have this one, a day in the life. So it's like a whole month worth of stuff that you could put on here. A whole bunch of pages of these. And we have this one with the tapes. Another one, I kind of just spread out the papers in here because I was like, I need to spread these things out. And then on the end, it came with this tiny little notepad thing that fits in a pocket over there. So that's the Webster. Not really here for the Webster review, obviously. So I'm just going to go and put it on the page. There it is. Alright, so I'll just put my stuff aside here for a moment, and I will introduce each of these as we go along. Now, I'm going to start off with, I'm guessing, the dip pens over here. So the dip pens, the only one that's new is this one. I got this one, a Panduro, at a craft store. I also have a whole bunch of other stuff. This is the only dip pen holder that I could find, because basically this is the nib right here. You can pull that off. It's just a little thing like that. I have a whole box of these right there. I don't know if this is the one that came with it. I think I just put a different one on there. But this is just the holder itself. It's got a little thing in there. You can put the stuff in, and this is just for you to hold it properly. So then you just kind of slip it back in. This one does not want to do it quite well. I think I need the outside ring for this one. Yeah, the outside ring. Okay, great. So that's all you really have. You have the nib, you have the handle, and then all you need is ink. So I have a little thing here with some ink in it that we can use. So that's the Panduro. And then we have this one. I don't even know what brand it is. Just a random run-of-the-mill holder. This one, the nib came with the set. And there's a whole bunch of nibs that came with the set. And the nibs have these little tabs on top of it. This one does anyway, where the ink gets kind of trapped back there. And they have a little reserve of ink right there to use. And let's see, next one that we have is, this is actually my first dip pen that I got. It's just a regular wood handle with this fine little thing on the top right there. I don't know if you can even see it. It has a very, also has a hair on it. Where did that come from? A very fine nib, and writes very thinly as well. Don't know exactly how thin. And over here, this one I also got. This one I like because of the green color, obviously, but also the shape of the handle. And this is an older one with another one of those little lips on top that you can actually see the ink getting trapped under. And when I got this one, this section was rusted, so I actually put it in some vinegar for a while, like about half an hour, and then I took a little scouring sponge and just kind of carefully brushed the rust off of it, and now it looks good as new, or at least it's usable. Now I'm not actually going to use this one because it has a reserve in there, so if I were to dip it into ink now, I would have to write a lot in order for the reserve to empty out, so I don't really have anything on me right now for removing that ink, so I'm only going to use ones without the reserve so it doesn't take too long. This one has a slight dip over here, so we're just going to go through and use that. This is the Panduro. I have to quickly, carefully dip that in. I don't use them very often, I have to say, so I'm not very much used to using dip pens and everything. So let's see if it'll write properly today. Ooh, also very fun. But sometimes it takes a while for the ink to get through to the tip of the nib, so that's a little different from fountain pens. It is a bit of practice. This is, and I think the paper is also moving too much, is the Panduro. The top of the D didn't come through there, so it takes a bit of practice, like I said. But as you can see, it's a very fine line. I really messed it up over here, so this looks terrible. And that's number one. It still has a little bit of ink. You can also see it at the bottom. So normally I would have like a bit of a cotton ball or something not quite a cotton ball, because a cotton ball will get caught in there, but like a cotton pad I use to remove makeup, I would use that for removing some of the ink that's currently sitting in here. So maybe I can kind of just remove that by putting it in the ink again, so it kind of reabsorbs. That works fairly well. Okay, so that one's one that I'm using sometimes. Usually I just grab a ballpoint pen because I like to write a lot when I am writing, so I don't want it to be a hassle. So sometimes I'll use this one. I don't know where this one came from, so not sure. Oops. Cannot write at this angle. This is a very unusual angle for me. Sure. This one runs out of ink very quickly. Where, oh, see, that's what I mean. Where it's already done. No, it's got some down there. Hello. This one comes from. But once I do get it right, it actually doesn't look too bad. And I will like spend a whole time with it. Like if I use a dip pen or a fountain pen, I'm just taking a moment to actually get it going properly and all that, do like the whole thing, because it's kind of like a ritual for me when I'm using the dip pens and stuff like that, because it's very different from using a regular pen. So that's kind of what they look like. I'm going to close this so I don't end up knocking it over by accident and getting it all over the table. So I wasn't going to use those, like I said. Also got this little box of nibs from a secondhand store as well, with a whole bunch of these standard ones in it. So I have plenty of nibs for many, many years to come, and just use them for fun. Also, this thing over here, I got that at a secondhand store as well. It's one of those blotters with some actual original blot paper on it still. So I need to get some more blotting paper so I can put that on here. This is very heavy because this is wood, this is glass, and this is some type of brass knob or something. It broke as well. I think that's why they got rid of it, because I think at some point they dropped it and then this glass thing split down the middle. So you got to be a little careful with it, but I do like it because it's an old-fashioned stationary item. So I can use this to kind of like go like this and then make sure to absorb any extra ink there, but there isn't any because it dried very quickly. But that is my dip pens, and I'm using dip pens occasionally instead of fountain pens, mostly because dip pens, the second-hand ones that I like to collect, because I do like the vintage ones, are a lot cheaper than fountain pens. So that's why I decided to go for getting dip pens instead of fountain pens for the most part. Also because the fountain pens that I do have, the ones that were kind of fancy, were not great. This is a Waterman right here. It's a lovely red color. That's why I looked it up, because it looks so nice. I wanted to have this one. This is my most expensive fountain pen, and it kind of cured me from wanting to get more expensive fountain pens, because it does not work most of the time. I'm going to have to demonstrate that in a moment, but first I'm going to go through the rest of my fountain pens. This one, a lot cheaper. This one is from the HEMA, which is a store that I have talked about a lot. This one occasionally gives me trouble. So this one's less expensive. Not expensive, really. I think it was at the time 3 to 5 euros. Not super expensive, so very basic. Doesn't look too bad. And then I'm going to do this one first because I have a bit of a thing about that one. This is my PaperMate, as you can see. This one was maybe 2 euros, which would be maybe $2.50 in dollars. This one never really has an issue. They'll occasionally like stutter right at the start of the first letter. I'll do a demonstration in a bit to show you, but once that is done, you can write with them just fine. And this is probably my cheapest one. I think this one was 1 or 2 euros. And this brand over here, I don't know if you guys can make that out, but it has a little logo, which is a bird. And the word next to it, I would pronounce as pelican, because the pelican is what the bird is. But I saw somebody who had a pen of the same brand, and they pronounced it Pelikan. And maybe they pronounced it like that because their fountain pen that they got from that brand was a lot more expensive than this one. Like maybe something in their brain was like, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Pelikan because it's so expensive, it has to be fancy, right? But this is my Pelikan. But when I heard that, I was like, okay, I think this is pronounced pelican, so other people may pronounce it pelican, so maybe this is actually not a PaperMate, but a PaperMate. Who knows? Depending on the price, possibly, it might be a different pronunciation. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, so let's take a look how they write. This is the Waterman. I've cleaned it a couple of different times. I've tried to just empty out the reservoir, remove the whole thing in the back here. This brand has a very long reserve over here. Like normally the ink pellets would be about half this size. This one's twice the length. I have a whole bunch of these. These are the original Waterman ink cartridges. This is the original nib right here. And when I try to write with it, usually it does not work. But let's see if it does it today. This is the Waterman. It does not do anything. And then I take my little scratch pad and just try to get it to work. It does not want to do anything. There we go, there we go. We have some. Okay, so that takes a little while to do. This is the Waterman. Occasionally still stutters, as you can see this W over here. This is still starting my most expensive. I cannot write today. Oh my god, top of the F did not, and the top loop of the O did not come through. Fountain pen. Okay, so that's the Waterman. It's actually doing better than it normally does. Normally I have to spend at least a couple minutes on this pad to try and just dedicate an entire page to doing that so that it'll do something. So it's gotten a little better. Now this is the one from the HEMA. Let's see if it'll work right away. Also a reasonably nice looking pen here. And let's see. This is also not great. Come on. You can do better than that. It's not my... might not be great for the pen nib, but I also need to be able to write with these things. And occasionally when it doesn't want to do anything, I turn it upside down and just kind of like drag it a bit, because that somehow brings the ink forward. And then we might be able to get it to do something. Or maybe not. Meanwhile, this entire pad is starting to curl up. At least the paper on top is starting to curl up because of all the writing that I'm trying to do. Come on. You know you want to. Yeah. Very frustrating. I cannot believe this one is now worse than my Waterman. And I only wrote with this like a couple of days ago, so this is not even like a pen that I only use once a year or something. It actually wrote something just the other day. Come on, we're getting something. We're getting through a little bit of a blockage here, hopefully. The other way. Alright, it's getting a little better. There we go. Alright, so hopefully now then this. Now I can't write because I'm doing circles the entire time. This is the HEMA pen. Oh my god. HEMA pen. Took a while to get it to do something. This is actually the worst, but what I just had to do with this HEMA pen is what I would normally have to do in order to get the Waterman to write. Alright, onto my PaperMate. Let's see if it wants to write today. Oh, immediately. This is not how you spell this. Where's my H? Here we go. This is my... I'm so shocked that it's working. I can't even spell this anymore. This is my PaperMate. Works like a charm for only a couple bucks. Like that. And then we draw a little four-leaf clover, or try to. Wow, that's supposed to be a four-leaf clover. Ignore that. So, that's you. Interesting, because these two are super cheap. Why is it that the more expensive ones do not write as properly as these two? Let's see how our Pelikan is doing today. Also amazing. I did not write with these like before the video or anything. They've both, or well, all of them actually, have been sitting unused for at least a day. The HEMA one I think I wrote with a couple days ago. The other three I have not really used in the past couple of weeks, I gotta say. So it's not like I've given them an unfair advantage by writing with them before the video started to make sure that I could like prove my points that my more expensive fountain pens were like more troublesome. I don't know how this happened. That these two cheap ones are great, but this is my Pelikan. And it writes like a dream come true. Except I don't. My God, what is this handwriting today? Usually I'm more of a ballpoint pen person, and I'm a little bit more used to writing with that, so the handwriting today is looking crazy. But okay, so it also gives you a little bit of an impression of what they write like, and the width and all that sort of thing, like the thickness and all that. The colors are a little unusual, I gotta say. Now this one, the PaperMate over here, originally had this color ink in it, but then I refilled the ink cartridge with this little bottle of refill thing that I had. I thought initially it was just going to be a thing that you can open and stick your pen in, like a dip pen ink type thing. And then I opened it up and it had a little tube thing sticking out of it, and for the longest time I had no idea what it was, and I was like, oh, maybe this is like a refill thing, and then eventually I figured out how to use it. So it was kind of funny because initially when I refilled it, I thought that the ink was going to be blue, and the first couple of words that came out were still blue, and then suddenly like transmogrified into black, and then I had a very interesting gradient there. So that was just a fun little thing that I had to go through and figure out how that works. So I have a refillable thing. I also have a whole bunch of regular these. I think I have an extra in here or not. Do I have an extra in here? I do not. Well, I can show it to you anyway. So just the standard ink cartridges are in here. These little small ones that you can actually pull out like that. And I have a whole bunch of these. And I used to write with these in school, actually. I'm old enough that we had to learn how to write with fountain pens very similar to this one. And we used to have tons of these little ink cartridges laying around at home. And I used to get the little glass beads out at the end. If you know, you know. And if you don't, I'll explain. Usually the little refills, they may still have them. I don't know if they do, or if that's just the top cap that's in the thing that keeps it from popping open and spreading the ink everywhere before it's being used. But there was always this little glass bead left inside of the ink cartridge when you were done with it, and I would like cut the ink cartridge open to get little beads out because that was somehow fun for me, and that's what I used to do as a kid for entertainment, so before the internet. Anyway, so that's my quick walk through my dip pens and my fountain pens. We got a little chaotic there, but I just wanted to show it to you what it looked like. These guys are a little thicker in the line, but it's kind of like this, like these two, so it's not like they're super different. Of course, I'm using the same ink over and over again. This ink is, I think, just a standard Schaefer. I'm not sure. This bottle did not come with the ink. This is just a bottle that actually used to have vitamins in it. I think vitamin D used to be in here. No, vitamin B complex used to be in here. I just emptied it out, washed it, and then put a whole bunch of ink in there so I could have a little jar of it sitting on my desk. So I'll have that sitting out, and occasionally I'll use the dip pens. And so they all use the same ink, my dip pens, and these are just whatever ink I have available. So these have their own Waterman cartridges. These have cartridges from the HEMA. These two came with their own cartridges, a few of them, and I'm pretty sure they're the same as the HEMA, so the same size and everything. So I'm going to put them over here. My fountain pens, my dip pens, right there. And also this little thingy right here with the extra nibs in case I break some. So that is a little rundown of my collection. I hope you found it interesting. Let me know how your fountain pens behave. Like, do you notice any difference between your cheap and expensive ones? Do you have any really expensive ones? I'm going to avoid buying those myself, but maybe you have like a whole collection that you'd like to share something about. Let us know in the comment section below, because I'd like to know what people are thinking. In any case, thanks for watching, and I'll hope to see you in another video, and bye-bye for now.